Good evening, everyone. Welcome to Inside Artesian Basketball here on WREP 15 Sports. I'm your host, Eric Meyer, joined as always by Lady Artesian head coach Jessi Johnson. The Artesians continue to play well here for head coach Jessi Johnson as Martinsville continues to win at home on the road, and they've got a big one coming up on Tuesday night as we record this against Center Grove. We'll talk with the coach about that game, another conference game coming up on Friday on the road against Plainfield. We'll talk about that one as well, but we'll talk first about the big win over Whiteland on Saturday afternoon. It was a big mid-state conference win and a good contest for your ball club.
Yeah, I thought the kids played really well on Saturday. They came out with energy, they executed the game plan, and it was just a great conference win to kind of boost us into the lead of the conference right now.
Every time we talk about the contest with you, the first thing that comes to mind is defense, and again, the defense at the forefront of that contest.
We probably talked for a whole week. We had 5 days of preparation for Whiteland, and we talked for a whole week just about how good of a shooting team that they were, how we're going to have to get out and close out the shooters, and we held them to 2 3-pointers in the ball game, and 33 points for the contest. It's just a great accomplishment for our kids.
9 points at half, really getting after it. Seemed like you did a nice job of keeping them. They have 3-point shooters, but they got some shots, but they always seemed contested, like you said, and it also seemed like you maybe forced them back off that line a little bit.
Yeah, 9 points in the first half, 2 points in the second quarter, and we just really worked on making them take shots out of their comfort zone, and I think that rewatching the game film that you can see we did that.
Also, a little bit of you can see your team starting to learn some things, becoming a little bit more veteran. These are kids that have played a lot, but haven't always been the kids that have been the go-to players. Whiteland makes a little bit of a run at you there, but really no panic on your team. You guys kind of regroup and then pull away there at the end for the victory.
We talked about going into the fourth quarter, how we have this lead, but it doesn't mean that the game is over. They're going to come back and kind of make a little push at the beginning, which they hit a couple threes, and I think they got it to maybe within 8. But again, you're right. Our kids just took it in stride, and we talked about, hey, now's the time where you need to get a bucket and a stop, and they did just that. And so again, we're just proud of how they've been playing.
When you look back at this game and on the Saturday afternoon, who are some of the kids or some of the things that stood out to you from the game tape?
Gracie handled just the ball pressure really well. I thought especially in that second half they were kind of coming after her. I thought they might have pushed her around a little bit. We had some no calls in terms of reaching in and slaps and things like that. But I thought she handled herself really well and kind of led the team. And I think, when she's at the forefront handling the ball, everybody else is just a little more comfortable in their role. And I thought she did a really good job that night. You
mentioned the physicality a little bit, and it was a little bit of physical, but I think credit to your team. They held their composure as Whiteland got a little, I guess, chippy would be the word there in the game.
It's a big rivalry. It has been for the last few years. And yeah, the 5 kids that we had in the game at that point, they're not scared of that pressure. They're not scared of that physicality. I think that they embrace it, and I think that that's kind of what led us to hold off and hold Whiteland off and get the win.
Get the big win. Lady Artesians continue to play well as that winning streak continues to climb. Let's go ahead and take a look at some of the highlights of the victory over Whiteland here. And you mentioned Jessi Johnson. Here's Gracie on the drive.
So this is the first score of the game, and again, I think it just sets the tone with her out front, kind of getting that steal and the rebound and pushing it out. And then Paige with the nice 15-foot jump shot. We're really lucky with Paige and Marlena, how they can hit from the corners. They can hit from the elbows and the free throw line. So that kind of you have to extend your defense when we play other teams.
Here's that. It makes it 10-5 here, and they have 9 points, 12-9. They aren't going to score again in the first half here.
So again, we gave up that 2 points in the second quarter, and then I think that we kind of went on this little run from there, starting with that Jessi Johnson layup, and then this Patience Walker 3-pointer. She's been shooting the ball pretty well lately, which we're happy to see. I think we share the ball well here. That's some of our goal is to get the ball inside, get it to our post players, and then make the defenders, kind of spread out a little bit. And then Delaney Wolf came in the game. She had to play because of some foul trouble, and came in really well, looked to score, looked for her shot, and that's exactly what we need her to do.
Bethany had a little bit of a run here too on her own toward late in the game where she started to find the range.
Bethany never gives up on her on herself, on her teammates. So regardless of if she's hot from the beginning or if it takes her a little while, I think she does a really good job at recognizing what kind of shots she needs to take. And again, I think all of our kids have been playing well and doing better with their shot selection and understanding what their strengths are in terms of getting to the basket or helping other people score. And I think that's another reason why we've been successful. Here we're breaking some pressure, and then again Bethany takes it into the basket, which those last few plays are exactly what her strength is, getting to the basket and finishing with over defenders.
And like you said, they had a little bit of a run there late. They were trying to come at you, but you guys were able to handle the pressure pretty well and be able to take advantage of that and get to the hoop.
Mm-hmm. And we haven't really been pressed a ton this year. And so I thought, that was pretty impressive how, they just took it in stride. We knew that they were going to come out with a 1-2-2 press, and, they handled it beautifully.
You're able to get the big win, and now that sets up a big non-conference matchup coming up on Tuesday night as we take this thing during the afternoon here on a Tuesday against the Center Grove Trojans. So like the Warriors, who they're a mid-state conference team, Center Grove is not. Whiteland, though, a potential sectional opponent. Center Grove, a potential sectional opponent. Very good ball club. Let's talk a little bit about Center Grove. You scouted them. You've taken a look at them. What are some of the things, if you talk about their team, that they do well and what they like to do offensively and defensively?
Defensively, they're a very solid man-to-man team. They switch every screen and every interchange, so that will be a little different than what we've seen so far this year. But they, like I said, they're just very solid. It's very hard to find cracks in their defense. Offensively, they have several really good shooters that we'll have to be aware of and know where they're at all times. But then they also have two guards going Division I. They can get to the basket. They're leaders on their team. They can handle the ball. And so, we're excited. I think our kids are up for the matchup tonight. But it will definitely probably be one of our toughest games so far.
Yeah, tough game going over there to Center Grove will be a good matchup as well. And for you also kind of returning back to a place where you actually got your coaching start.
I was the freshman coach there for 3 years and started coaching there at 19. And so, I'm very grateful to have my start there. But I'm excited to be on the other side tonight and to, hopefully give them a battle and compete.
And like we said, it's a potential sectional opponent coming up, so coaches take different approaches along like what you want to do or what you don't want to do in that particular matchup. But having said that, what are some of the things that you think you're going to have to do to be successful and try to come away with a win tonight against Center Grove?
Like I mentioned, we're going to have to key in on their shooters. I think on the scouting report we listed 4, which is a majority of their team. So we're going to have to just do like we did at Whiteland, get out to the shooters, make them take shots, whether they have to put it on the floor before they shoot or make an extra pass to somebody who just isn't in their usual rotation. And then I think that we are going to have to be patient on offense. Sometimes we like to get up the floor and shoot quickly, but I think against Center Grove, the longer you make them play in the half court, the more likely it will be that they break down in their defense.
And that's the tough thing as well, but this is 2 very good defensive teams that are going at it. So it could be a low-scoring game on Tuesday night at Center Grove against the Trojans. We mentioned that ball game. After that contest, you guys go back on the road. You get a rare Friday night game as you will be traveling to Plainfield to battle the Plainfield Quakers. It's a mid-state conference matchup. It's a game you guys have taken a look at Plainfield, but obviously the focus right now is on Center Grove. But can you talk a little bit about what you expect to see out of the Quakers on Friday night?
Plainfield's a young team. They have stolen some conference games here early. And, the few games I can remember that I've already watched, they play man-to-man. They, will, again, kind of try to spread you out on offense and look to attack the basket. So things that we've seen before. But, again, they're a young team, and so they have lots of energy, and they're going to come out hard and play. So that'll definitely be another one that we will key in on, starting on Wednesday. and that we'll need to get in order to keep our standing in the conference.
This next question may be kind of difficult to ask, not knowing what's going to happen, the result of the game, but you're going to have either result, you're going to win or lose on Tuesday night, but your girls are going to have to respond and bounce back regardless of what that is. How difficult is that to be able to do to get the kids, because you've got a big game coming up and you have a big game. How difficult is that as a coach to try to get the kids back down to earth or pick back up to get them ready for the next contest?
You know, this group, they're different. And I mean that in a positive way. You know, I've coached, this is like year 7 or 8, and this is the first group that they just go with the flow, and like it doesn't seem like too many things faze them. So, you know, after Avon, they came to practice the next day, and they were great spirits and came to work. You know, after big wins, they do the same, and after, you know, wins where we thought we maybe should have played better. So I have no fear about, you know, if regardless of the outcome, how they're going to come back tomorrow and respond at practice.
Is that difficult sometimes for a coach too, because you want them to react a certain way, you think, to kind of read them and understand what they're going to do from there and how to approach that?
Yeah, I mean, you know, after a big win, of course, you don't want them to be so high in the clouds that they, you know, aren't ready for the next game, or after a loss, you don't want them to be so low that they can't bounce back. But again, this group is special, and, you know, I feel like I click with them pretty well, and so I think that, you know, we read each other so far so good, so hopefully that we will respond good on Wednesday.
All right, big contest coming up on Tuesday. Good luck over at Center Grove. We'll see you there on Friday night at Plainfield as Martinsville battles the Quakers. It's Martinsville coming up on Tuesday night. Get out, support the Artesians as they battle Center Grove in a big matchup, a possible sectional preview as well as the Artesians head out there to battle the Trojans. I'd like to thank the head coach, Jessi Johnson, for coming in. For Coach Johnson, along with the RTV2 class who produced it and got it done just as the graphic goes away, I'm Eric Meyer. We'll see you again next time inside Artesian Basketball.